Okay, our problem is y equals 2 minus cosine pi x. First step is we got to pull out a pi from the equation. So we rewrite it with the pi pulled out, and that's what you get. Now we find our information. So this equation is going to shift up 2. Our period is going to be 2 pi divided by pi, which is going to equal 2. And our amplitude is going to be 1 with a flip on the x-axis. Now we can write our graph. So here's our graph with our amplitude at 1. And so what we're going to do is we're going to flip it first and then shift. But our x-intercept points are going to be 1/2, 1, 3/2, and 2, because we divided the period by 4. So we're going to flip. So it's going to go like this. That's what our normal would look like without the shift. Then we're going to shift it up 2. We go up 2. And then that's what our final graph is going to look like.
Okay. Alright, so our equation is y equals 2 minus tan x minus pi over 2. So the period is pi, but you have to include the phase shift, so you divide by pi over 2, which is the same as pi times 2 over pi, which just equals 2. And then we have a vertical shift up 2, and we flip x-axis. And then because it's tangent, there's key points, which is pi over 2, 0, and pi over 2. And then you have to add the phase shift, so you do the opposite of what's in the parentheses. So it's pi plus 2, or pi over 2, plus pi over 2. So that equals 0, pi over 2, and pi. So now we're ready to graph. So we have 0, pi over 2, and pi. These two are our vertical asymptotes. So then the original graph of this would look like this, but then we have to flip x-axis, which means it looks like that, and then we have to raise it up 2. So then our final one looks like this.
Yay!
Yeah.
Okay, so our equation is y equals 4 secant 2x minus pi. So next step is to rewrite the equation, pulling out the 2. And it's going to turn into x minus pi over 2. So then we find our information. The amplitude is going to be 4. The period is going to be 2 pi over 2, which equals pi. And our phase change is going to be right 2, or right pi over 2.
Alright, ready? So our normal points are 0, pi over 4, pi over 2, 3 pi over 4, and pi, and then we're going to add pi over 2 to all of those. So then we're ready to graph. So we have pi over 2, 3 pi over 4, pi, 5 pi over 4, and 3 pi over 2. So then we have an amplitude of 4. So our original graph would look like this. And then our asymptotes are at wherever it hits the x-axis. So 3 pi over 4 and 5 pi over 4. And then we just bounce off the rounded part of the graph. So that's your secant graph.